morning light filters through the mesh screens of my helmet, casting shadows across the control panel. The hum of machinery fills the air, but it's nothing new. Everything here is routine. I check the gauges and sensors on the dashboard, verifying that all systems are operational. There's a steady beep from the oxygen regulator, confirming it's running as it should. The atmosphere around me feels thick, like breathing through a damp cloth. The humidity hovers at 90%, but that's normal for this sector. I adjust my suit to compensate, ensuring the air inside is breathable. The temperature outside fluctuates wildly with each passing hour, but the suits keep us stable, warm in the cool hours and cool when it gets hot. I move through the maintenance bay, past rows of equipment, lined up like soldiers, waiting for inspection. My job here is straightforward. Ensure everything stays online. I replace a faulty sensor module at one station, tighten bolts on another. The metal clinks against my gloves as I work, familiar sounds that blend into the background noise. Outside, the ground beneath me shifts with every step, covered in layers of organic detritus and loose soil. It's not solid like rock. It's more like walking through thick mud. My boots sink slightly before finding purchase again. The plant life here is dense and varied, but I see it only as a hazard to be navigated around or cleared away. My radio crackles with the voice of my supervisor, checking in from his station further down the line. He reminds me about a scheduled calibration later today. Nothing urgent. I confirm receipt of the message and continue my rounds. There's no rush. Everything runs on its own time here. A quick glance at the horizon shows distant mountains shrouded in mist. Beyond them lie more stations, each connected by a network of cables and pipes that snake across the landscape like veins. The planet itself doesn't feel alive to me. It's just another part of the system, another set of parameters to monitor. I pause briefly near an air vent, listening for any anomalies. The sound is consistent. The air flows steady. It's reassuring in its predictability. I move on, noting small details as I go. A slight leak from one pipe, a few loose bolts that need tightening. Nothing serious enough to worry about right now. The day progresses with the same rhythm as always. Each task completed adds up to a job well done. The sun shifts position in the sky, casting different patterns of light and shadow across my workspace. My movements are practiced, efficient. I know every inch of this place by heart, from the layout of the equipment to the best routes for quick access. As evening approaches, I perform final checks before signing off for the day. The air is crisp as night falls, but the suits keep us comfortable. The stars above are a distant backdrop, unremarkable and vast. Inside my helmet, it's quiet except for the soft hum of machinery. I head back to the main station, leaving behind the maintenance bay with its rows of equipment and cables stretching into the darkness. Tomorrow will be another day of checks and calibrations, each one contributing to a system that keeps everything running smoothly. The planet is just part of the environment I work in, a constant presence, but not something to ponder over. The night settles around me as I reach my quarters, tired from the day's labor. Sleep comes easily, another routine to be followed. Tomorrow will bring more tasks and familiar challenges. That's what this place is, a series of operations, each one part of a larger whole that functions without question or hesitation. The day begins with the checklist, a series of familiar tasks that need to be completed before dawn. I start by donning my environmental suit, securing each seal, and checking for any signs of wear or damage. The air inside the chamber hums softly as the recycling system activates, providing a steady stream of breathable atmosphere. Next, I move through the routine maintenance of the extraction equipment. Each machine is meticulously cared for, ensuring that no malfunction disrupts our operations. There's a rhythm to this work. Each part has its place and purpose. The tools feel weighty in my hands as I tighten bolts and replace worn components. Outside, the landscape remains constant yet ever-changing. The thick canopy of alien flora stretches high above, casting shadows across the ground beneath. The air is heavy with moisture, but it's a manageable condition. My suit keeps me dry, regulating temperature and humidity levels to maintain comfort within limits. The primary objective today involves monitoring the fluid collection points scattered throughout our designated area. I move from one station to another, collecting samples and inputting data into my PDA. Each point is marked with coordinates on the map, a grid of necessity rather than exploration. The fluids collected are essential for the processing plant further back in the compound. As I work, I notice the subtle signs of life around me, the hum of insects, the rustle of leaves, and distant calls from unseen creatures. These sounds blend into the background noise, part of the operational environment, but not a distraction. My focus remains on my tasks, each completed item checked off with methodical precision. Later in the day, I assist with the repair of one of our larger extraction machines. The team works efficiently. Each member assigns specific roles to minimize downtime and maximize productivity. There's no room for error. Every component must be replaced or repaired according to strict protocols. The camaraderie is functional, a shared understanding that we are all here to fulfill a necessary role. The sun sets quickly behind the dense foliage, bringing with it cooler temperatures and shifting winds. Night operations begin, focusing on maintenance checks and system recalibrations. I spend hours reviewing data logs from earlier in the day, comparing readings against expected parameters to ensure consistency and reliability. As night falls completely, I return to my quarters, removing the suit and allowing a moment of respite before preparing for sleep. The cycle continues without pause or deviation. My presence is defined by these tasks, each action contributing to the larger operation with little room for individuality or personal reflection. Tomorrow will bring new challenges and routines, but they are expected. I am here because this work is being done, and there's a comfort in that familiarity. The air outside the habitat is thick and heavy, laden with an oppressive humidity that clings to every surface. As I step out into the alien landscape each morning, my suit adjusts automatically to maintain a comfortable internal pressure. The first few days, the moisture feels like a physical weight pressing against me, making even simple movements feel labor. But as the routine solidifies, the sensation of the air becomes less noticeable. It's still there, ever present and unchanging, but it no longer demands my attention. I move through my tasks collecting samples, maintaining equipment with a steady rhythm that leaves little room for anything beyond focus on the immediate task at hand. The distant hum of biological activity from the planet's surface is another constant in this environment. At first, it was an intrusion, a reminder of the living world around me and its indifference to my presence here. But now, as I go about my daily duties, that hum fades into the background. It remains audible, but no longer breaks through the layers of routine tasks and procedural checklists. The humidity particularly noticeable in the mornings when I'm outside for the longest stretches. Each breath feels like inhaling a cloud, and beads of sweat form on my skin despite the cooling systems in my suit. But as the days turn into weeks, that sensation becomes less distinct. The air remains thick, but it's no longer a barrier to my work. The planet itself is vast and ever-present, its surface stretching endlessly beneath me. Yet, I find myself increasingly focused inward on the tasks at hand, rather than outwards towards this alien expanse. The distant hum of life continues unabated, but it no longer distracts from the monotony of my daily operations. As weeks become months, the sensory details of the environment fade further into the background. The air feels like a permanent part of the landscape, not something to be noticed or remarked upon. I move through the days with a sense of purpose, each task building on the last in an unbroken chain of routine. The distant biological noise remains, but it no longer intrudes on my consciousness. It's there, a constant undercurrent that reminds me of the planet's presence without demanding my attention. The humidity is still heavy and oppressive, but it has become a condition, not a sensation to be endured. I continue with my work, methodical and unyielding, finding solace in the predictability of each day. The environment remains unchanged, yet its impact on me diminishes further with each passing cycle. The rhythm of the day begins with a precise sequence. Hands move in tandem, each gesture calibrated to the next. The work is relentless but predictable, a continuous loop of extraction and maintenance. Our actions are mirrored across the room, a synchronized dance of efficiency. As I approach my station, fingers already know their role, sliding into place like clockwork. The machine hums beneath my touch, familiar vibrations that signal readiness. My movements blend with those around me, forming a single, cohesive unit without spoken direction. Tasks are divided and executed with precision. One moment, I'm securing cables, the next, adjusting settings on the console. Each action is met with another imperfect Taminga hand extends to offer tools before they're needed. A switch flips as soon as it's clear that activation is imminent. The space around us is a blur of motion and coordination, devoid of personal markers or individual distinction. The air is thick, but fades into irrelevance beside the constant flow of activity. Sweat beads on my skin, yet I move through it without pause. Each task completed adds to the whole, contributing to the greater operational stability. The environment's oppressive nature wanes in importance as we work in unison. Each person, a cog in a larger machine. There is no sense of self here, only function. My role is replaceable, interchangeable within this intricate web of labor. The collective effort blurs individuality into uniform motion and timing, reducing all to the essence of task completion. The day progresses without incident or deviation. We move through our routines with mechanical precision, each action a part of an endless cycle. The work continues undisturbed, a seamless blend of human and machine, where personal identity dissolves into the procedural demands of the system. The day progresses in the usual way, each task blending seamlessly into the next. My movements are fluid and efficient, guided by the familiar hum of machinery and the rhythmic pulse of my colleagues. The oppressive heat and humidity that once felt like a constant assault now merely serve as a background presence, easily ignored. I move through the daily rituals with practiced ease, my mind focused solely on the task at hand. The workstations are clean and orderly, each tool in its place. My hands find their accustomed positions, fingers gliding over the controls without hesitation. The air is thick with the scent of machinery and the distant sounds of the planet's surface. But these details hold no sway over my concentration. I am a part of this machine now, as essential as any component. The routine provides a comforting stability, anchoring me firmly in the present moment. There are no surprises today. Every step is planned and executed with precision. The repetition is soothing, each completed task confirming my place within the system. My identity blurs into insignificance, replaced by the unyielding rhythm of labor. As I reach for another component to replace a worn-out part, my hand moves with mechanical certainty. The action feels automatic, devoid of any emotional weight or personal significance. This is what I do. This is how it must be done. There is no questioning, only acceptance and compliance. The work continues without interruption, each moment flowing into the next in an endless cycle. The day's tasks are complete, but there is no sense of closure or completion. Rather, they simply recede into the backdrop of routine, to be replaced by tomorrow's obligations. The environment remains unchanged, the oppressive elements unchallenged, yet unnoticed. I am content within this structured existence, knowing that everything feels as it should. My movement slows slightly as I prepare for the next phase, but there is no resistance or hesitation. Each action is a continuation of the cycle, a seamless transition into the ongoing rhythm of work. The day's events hold no lingering impact. They are simply part of the continuum, blending effortlessly into the backdrop of daily operations. The oppressive nature of my surroundings fades further into irrelevance as I merge fully into the collective flow. There is nothing to question or challenge here. This is enough. Each gesture and movement reaffirms my place within the system, providing a sense of purpose that is both unremarkable and complete. My hand reaches out once more, guided by the familiar rhythm of routine, and the day continues as it always does. The strictness and impersonality of the system are simply its operational necessities. Every rule exists to ensure stability and predictability in an environment fraught with unpredictable risks. The harsh conditions we face here are not arbitrary. They demand a level of rigor that allows us to function without succumbing to chaos. The oppressive humidity, the alien sounds, these elements do not define our existence. They merely present challenges that must be overcome. The system's rules aren't imposed by any higher authority, but arise from the need for efficiency and safety. They are the result of countless iterations and adjustments made over time, each one a response to specific conditions on this planet. These rules ensure that we can extract resources without risking catastrophic failure. The rigidity is not a choice. It's an outcome of necessity. The environment here is hostile, but manageable. Our daily tasks are designed to mitigate the risks inherent in our surroundings. Each action we take is part of a larger strategy to maintain operational stability. There's no room for emotional interference or personal whims. These would only introduce inefficiencies and potential hazards. The system works because it must. There's no other way to ensure our survival and success. The oppressive nature of the work is not intended as punishment, but rather as a practical safeguard against failure. It ensures that everyone adheres to the same strict protocols without deviation. This uniformity prevents errors and accidents. There are safety margins built into every process, designed to account for variables in unpredictable environment. These measures aren't cruel. They're necessary. The tasks we perform daily are not arbitrary exercises of control, but essential components of our mission. They serve a purpose beyond personal satisfaction or discomfort. They contribute directly to the larger goals of resource extraction and system stability. The monotony is a byproduct, a reflection of the predictability required for us to function effectively in this place. In this context, there's no room for individuality or emotional attachments. Each person plays their role as part of a greater whole. Our collective effort ensures that we can extract resources efficiently and safely. This system is not about oppression but survival. It works because it has to, and any deviation from its structure would jeopardize our entire mission. The harshness of the environment, combined with the rigidity of our procedures, serves a single purpose: to keep us alive and operational. The rules are not arbitrary constraints. They are the framework that allows us to navigate this hostile planet and fulfill our mandate without incident. There's no room for questioning or resistance. Every detail is there because it must be. The system operates as it does because the alternative would be failure. It's not about personal comfort or moral considerations. It's about survival in an unforgiving environment. The strictness and impersonality are simply a means to an end, ensuring that we can continue our work without interruption. This is how things function here, and there's no other way for them to be. The numbers speak for themselves. Each day's throughput is meticulously recorded, converted into efficiency metrics, and analyzed. The resource yield fluctuates based on terrain. Variables clarity in data points translates to operational adjustments. Loss margins are minimized through rigorous adherence to protocols. Every deviation from the norm is an anomaly that requires immediate recalibration. The extraction process functions like a finely tuned machine. Each unit of material processed represents a step closer to our objectives. The planet's resources, though finite, are managed within sustainable parameters. Balance is key. No single instance feels significant beyond its contribution to the overall throughput. Discomfort, when it arises, is quantified and addressed methodically. Pain points become data sets for optimization. Metrics define thresholds, Exceedances trigger corrective actions. Emotional responses are inefficiencies that disrupt continuity. The system's stability depends on predictability and order. Deviations from this framework risk failure, which is unacceptable. Decisions here feel clean when measured against projected outcomes. Personal whims are irrelevant in the face of objective data. Every action taken aligns with a greater purpose: survival, efficiency, success. Rules exist not to oppress, but to maintain equilibrium within the system. The rigidity serves as a safeguard, preventing chaos and ensuring that operations proceed without hindrance. Each unit processed moves us closer to our goals. Individual discomforts are abstracted into variables, a necessary cost for maintaining stability. No single moment feels personal. Instead, it is part of a larger equation that we must solve for the benefit of all involved. This clarity brings a sense of calm. The rhythmic hum of machinery continues to fill the air, a constant reminder of our purpose. Today's work schedule has brought an increase in the ambient noise and vibration, but this is expected. The system operates efficiently under load, and the heightened activity signals progress. Each cycle of extraction intensifies, yet it remains within acceptable parameters, nothing unexpected or out of place. The physical strain is a familiar sensation, a confirmation that we are moving forward with our goals. The repetitive motion of my tasks triggers no discomfort. Instead, it aligns perfectly with the objective at hand. Every minute detail of my environment is understood and accepted, from the gritty texture underfoot to the slight warmth emanating from nearby machinery. These elements become mere operational variables, information to be processed rather than obstacles to be overcome. The air is thick with a mixture of dust and humidity today, but this too is an indication that our efforts are yielding results. The condensation on the equipment is not a sign of malfunction, but a byproduct of efficiency. I notice the increased sweat on my brow as a testament to productivity, a sign that energy is being converted into tangible output. The monotony of the tasks has become a comfort, a routine that ensures continuity and reliability. Each step is measured and precise, contributing to the greater whole without deviation. The environment's response to our actions is an affirmation of success rather than a source of distress. The pressure in the air confirms we are pushing boundaries, but it does not alarm, it informs. In this setting, my body functions as a machine with a tool for efficiency and output. Any physical feedback is merely data points on the operational map, guiding us towards our objectives with unerring accuracy. This rigidity is what sustains order and prevents chaos from encroaching upon our operations. Every sensory input aligns perfectly with the mission at hand, reinforcing the necessity of our methods. The system's demands are not burdens, but challenges to be met. The increased load today is a clear signal that progress is being made, and I find solace in this certainty. Each moment spent here serves as evidence of our collective effort, driving us towards our goals with unwavering focus. As I move through another cycle of operations, my thoughts naturally drift towards the monotony and repetition. There's a fleeting moment where a small voice inside questions if this is truly necessary, but it dissipates almost immediately. This isn't about discomfort or dissatisfaction. Rather, it's an acknowledgement that every deviation from established norms risks operational failure. The system demands precision and reliability above all else. I remind myself of the countless lives supported by our efforts here. The resources we extract fuel industries across the grid, ensuring stability and growth for communities far removed from this harsh environment. It's not about personal whims or desires. It's about fulfilling a critical role that keeps everything running smoothly. Every task I complete is a direct contribution to larger goals, and any hesitation would only serve to undermine those efforts. The correction feels natural, like the next logical step in my progression. This isn't about blind obedience, but rather an understanding of what's essential for success. The system may appear rigid and demanding from the outside, but it exists to maintain order and efficiency. My role within this framework is crucial, and any doubt is quickly set aside in favor of unwavering commitment. The environment around me vibrations humming through the machinery, the constant noise, the humidity clinging to my skin is all part of the operational landscape. It's not oppressive, but necessary for our work. Every detail serves a purpose, guiding us towards efficiency and reliability. The monotony becomes a comfort in its predictability, reinforcing the sense that each action is integral to the greater whole. This momentary hesitation was nothing more than an interruption in my focus, easily corrected through self-awareness and responsibility. I returned to my tasks with renewed clarity, knowing that every step contributes to something far larger and more vital than any individual desire or doubt. The repetitive nature of my tasks has become a familiar rhythm, one that I no longer question. Each day blends into the next with mechanical precision, and there is comfort in this predictability. The environment's constant noise and vibration are merely background hums, unremarkable sounds that fade into insignificance as they blend seamlessly into the backdrop of existence. Every action I undertake is a cog in the vast machinery of our operation. My role, while small, is essential to the function of the whole. There is no room for personal whims or emotional interference. These would only serve to disrupt the delicate balance that sustains us. The rules and protocols are not burdens but frameworks designed to ensure stability and efficiency. The physical strain of my work is an accepted cost, a necessary expenditure in the pursuit of our objectives. Each muscle's exertion, each bead of sweat, is a testament to productivity rather than discomfort. My body has adapted to these demands with quiet endurance, its resilience an affirmation that I am part of something larger and more enduring. In this environment, doubt finds no purchase. Questions are dismissed as inefficiencies. There is only the task at hand and the methodical pursuit of completion. The system's demands may seem rigid, but they are also a shield against chaos. To deviate from these protocols would be to court failure, to jeopardize not just my role, but the intricate balance that maintains our operations. There is no need for emotional reassurance or moral justification. Logic and necessity suffice. Each decision I make is grounded in pragmatism, driven by the singular goal of maintaining operational integrity. The monotony of my tasks is a testament to their importance, a reminder that consistency breeds reliability. In this context, correctness supersedes uncertainty. There is no room for questioning or hesitation, only forward motion and unwavering commitment. This settled state is not one of relief, but of clarity. I am correct in my adherence, and there is comfort in the resolution that comes with it. The protocols are clear and familiar, yet today they demand additional effort. The environmental sensors indicate a slight increase in humidity, which complicates the usual routine of resource extraction. I adjust the settings to account for this variance, initiating a series of compensatory measures that were not necessary before. Each adjustment feels like an extra step, but it aligns with maintaining operational integrity. The machinery hums louder than usual, its rhythm slightly off from the standard efficiency I am accustomed to. I recalibrate the equipment, introducing redundancy into the process to ensure no data is lost or compromised. This introduces a delay, as each recalibration must be carefully verified before proceeding. The noise and vibration seem more pronounced, but they are tolerable if I focus on the task at hand. The humidity affects my visibility slightly, causing condensation to form on surfaces. I modify the extraction parameters to accommodate this interference, ensuring that every action is methodically documented and cross-checked. These minor deviations from the usual protocol require additional attention, but adherence remains unwavering. Each adjustment reinforces the necessity of these procedures, even if they feel less seamless than before. The system still functions, just not as effortlessly as it once did. The environment's subtle changes demand a more deliberate approach, but this does not compromise my commitment to efficiency and stability. Every recalibration is justified by its contribution to operational integrity, despite the increased effort required. The familiar processes remain essential, even if they now involve extra steps and delays. I focus on these details, rationalizing each adjustment as necessary for maintaining the overall system's reliability. Despite the friction introduced by environmental conditions, I find comfort in the predictability of my routine and the importance of my role within it. Each minor deviation is addressed with methodical precision, reinforcing the necessity of my adherence to protocols without question. The adjustments are made with unwavering dedication, ensuring that no detail goes unverified or overlooked. The system functions, but it requires conscious effort to maintain its operational efficiency. This persistence in the face of slight disruptions underscores the importance of my role and the significance of maintaining stability amid minor inconsistencies. Today's metrics are off again. The readings from the sensor array indicate a 12% increase in ambient energy levels, but when I recalibrate manually, it reads only an 8%. This is becoming frustratingly commonplace. Every day brings new adjustments and recalibrations to keep everything running smoothly. The projected growth rates for the hydroponics are promising. On paper, expected yields should see a significant uptick over the next month. Yet the actual plantings seem less robust than anticipated, showing signs of stress despite optimal conditions, according to the latest reports. The theoretical models don't account for these discrepancies. It's as if something is subtly misaligned between what we expect and what we observe. I've spent countless hours fine-tuning our systems, recalibrating every sensor, double-checking all inputs. Still, there's this nagging feeling that something fundamental has shifted beneath the surface of our controlled environment. It's not a catastrophic failure, just persistent inconsistencies that refuse to resolve neatly within our established protocols. The air quality monitor reports stable levels throughout the day, but I can feel a slight tingling sensation in my lungs when I spend extended periods in certain areas. The physiological response doesn't match the data, leaving me questioning if there is an unmeasured variable at play here. Maybe it's just my perception playing tricks on me, but the dissonance between what is recorded and what I experience feels increasingly pronounced. The structural integrity scans show no significant deviations from baseline norms. Yet, walking through some of the older sections of the habitat, there's a noticeable creaking that wasn't present before. It's subtle, almost imperceptible in casual observation, but it's there another layer of complexity that our models are failing to capture comprehensively. These small inconsistencies accumulate over time, making each task more laborious and demanding. The protocols remain sound, but their execution requires increasing vigilance and effort. There's a sense of disconnection between the theoretical framework and the practical reality gap that feels both frustrating and intriguing in its unpredictability. The environment is still functional, but there's this underlying strain. It's as if the map is no longer fully aligned with the ground beneath it, and every step forward requires more attention to detail and recalibration. The commitment remains unwavering, but the path ahead feels increasingly convoluted and less straightforward than before. The hum of the machinery never ceases, a constant undercurrent in my perception. Today, it seems more pervasive, intertwining with the fabric of reality itself. Each recalibration feels like an act of defiance against this relentless backdrop, as if I am fighting to retain control over something that slips away incrementally. The air conditioner hums slightly louder than usual, its rhythm barely detectable but noticeable enough to distract. It's not a new noise, it's different now. The slight buzz disrupts my concentration as I attempt to complete another routine task. Every adjustment takes longer. Each recalibration feels like an obstacle rather than a solution. I notice the light flickering subtly, its cadence altering slightly with no discernible pattern. It's not enough to interfere directly, but enough to create a persistent nuisance. The fluorescent bulbs seem to pulse in sync with my heartbeat, amplifying their presence within the room. The environment asserts itself, almost defiantly, as if it too has a will of its own. I feel the need to correct this anomaly, to bring order back into chaos. But every attempt at restoration feels futile, like trying to mend a tear in reality. My hands move with precision, fingers tapping against cold metal surfaces. Each movement is deliberate, yet the background hum refuses to be tamed. It's as if the environment itself is challenging my sense of stability, urging me to acknowledge its existence beyond mere abstraction. The air conditioning unit rattles softly, a series of clicks and clacks that blend into the overall noise. I focus on the sound, trying to isolate it from the rest, but it merges seamlessly with the ambient hum. The room feels slightly warmer today, more oppressive, in a subtle way, amplifying the sensation of being surrounded by an ever-present interference. I pause momentarily, eyes closing as I attempt to block out the disruptive sounds and sensations. It's not panic or pain that grips me. Rather, it's a nagging discomfort, a persistent awareness of something amiss. Each recalibration feels like a battle against this relentless noise, striving to maintain order in an increasingly chaotic world. Despite the frustration, there is a strange comfort in the routine, a reassuring familiarity amidst inconsistency. I continue my tasks, driven by a sense of commitment and necessity. The hum persists, but for now, it remains manageably a background presence that demands attention without overwhelming me entirely. The routine tasks are becoming increasingly cumbersome, but I persist. Each recalibration feels like an exercise in patience and precision. Every time the hum of machinery disrupts my concentration, I pause to realign my focus. It's a familiar process by now: adjust, verify, repeat. Despite the growing inconsistencies, adhering strictly to protocols remains essential. The need for meticulous attention is paramount. Each deviation, no matter how small, must be corrected promptly. This rigorous approach ensures stability and reliability, even if it means sacrificing some efficiency in the short term. The hum of machinery continues to interfere, creating a persistent disturbance that requires constant adjustment. Yet, there's an underlying determination to maintain control, no matter the challenge. Each recalibration reinforces the necessity of maintaining operational integrity, anchoring me to the familiar path despite the mounting strain. It's frustrating when discrepancies emerge, but they serve as reminders of the importance of vigilance. The gap between theory and reality widens with each passing moment, demanding heightened attention. Despite this, I find reassurance in the routine, a sense of familiarity that propels me forward through the discomfort. Adjusting for inconsistencies becomes a repetitive task, almost ritualistic in its necessity. Each recalibration is an affirmation, a reaffirmation of purpose and protocol. The hum remains ever present, yet it no longer overwhelms my capacity to function instead. It serves as a constant prompt to stay vigilant. Maintaining operational integrity is more than just a series of steps. It's a commitment to the system's reliability. Every deviation, every recalibration reinforces this commitment. Despite the nagging discomfort and growing frustration, there's an unyielding resolve to uphold the standards set by these protocols. Each adjustment feels like explaining something again to make it hold, ensuring that stability remains intact. The hum continues, but I remain steadfast in my dedication to maintaining functionality amidst slight inconsistencies. The hum of the machinery has become an incessant backdrop, a constant reminder of the adjustments needed. Each recalibration feels like a battle against the subtle shifts in the environment, demanding meticulous attention and precision. Despite the frustration that wells up with each discrepancy, there's an unwavering commitment to maintaining stability. Today's routine felt particularly challenging. The usual tasks took longer than expected, as small inconsistencies required additional checks and adjustments. Each calibration was a reaffirmation of the necessity for vigilance, but also a source of growing discomfort. The persistent hum seemed louder today, more intrusive, making concentration difficult yet essential. Despite the mounting strain, there's a sense of comfort in the routine, in knowing exactly what needs to be done. The environment's unpredictability adds a layer of complexity, but it doesn't shake the resolve to keep everything functioning smoothly. Each task completed is a victory against the backdrop of uncertainty, reinforcing the importance of adhering strictly to protocols. The hum continues unabated, a constant reminder that nothing can rest now. Every moment requires vigilance. Every adjustment demands attention. The system holds, but only when watched closely. There's no room for complacency or ease. Each day feels like a delicate balance between maintaining order and addressing the persistent inconsistencies. As I finish another set of recalibrations, the hum settles into a familiar rhythm, yet it remains ever-present, demanding continued vigilance. The environment may not be breaking, but nothing rests anymore. The persistent hum of the machinery continues, a constant backdrop that demands attention but does not disrupt the rhythm entirely. Today's routine adjustments take longer than usual, each recalibration revealing small discrepancies that accumulate over time. The environment shows signs of wear and tear, with subtle changes in temperature and light levels noticeable during checks. During the morning shift, I notice the air quality has declined slightly. Dust particles float more freely now, settling on surfaces with a fine layer that wasn't there before. This requires additional cleaning efforts to maintain operational standards. The hum grows louder as systems compensate for these minor but persistent issues, straining my focus despite the familiar protocols guiding me. Later, during equipment checks, I discover an unusual vibration in one of the machines. A quick diagnostic reveals a slight misalignment that wasn't present yesterday. Adjusting it takes extra time and effort, reinforcing the need for meticulous attention to detail. The hum becomes more pronounced as the system works harder to compensate for this new irregularity. By midday, the cumulative effects begin to show. The routine tasks that once felt manageable now require constant vigilance. Small deviations accumulate, making each recalibration a delicate balancing act. Despite the strain, I continue. The morning began as usual, with the faint hum of machinery and a layer of dust settling over surfaces that had been meticulously cleaned just yesterday. My routine was set in motion, each task requiring more focus than before. The air was thick with particles floating aimlessly, a testament to the relentless accumulation of neglect. I started by recalibrating the environmental controls, adjusting settings for temperature and humidity until the display read within acceptable ranges. Each adjustment felt like a small victory, but I knew these victories were fleeting. The system required constant vigilance, its demands increasing with each passing day. Next, I turned my attention to the power distribution units, checking circuit breakers and voltage levels. One of the auxiliary generators had developed a minor fault, which needed immediate repair. I accessed the maintenance console and began running diagnostic scans. The screen filled with data streams, scrolling too quickly for me to read thoroughly. Frustration mounted as I realized that the underlying issue was systemic, not isolated. With tools in hand, I approached the generator's housing unit, lifting the cover carefully to avoid damaging any components further. Inside, wires and connections were exposed, their insulation cracked and brittle from age and wear. I replaced a faulty capacitor, soldering it into place with meticulous precision. Even as I worked, I could sense that this was just a temporary fix. More issues would arise soon. After securing the generator back in place, I moved to the life support systems, monitoring oxygen levels and recycling efficiency. Alarms had been going off intermittently throughout the night, signaling drops in air quality. I activated additional scrubbers and filters, their whirring sound filling the room as they worked to purify the atmosphere. Despite these efforts, the environment felt heavier, oppressive even, as if it were closing in around me. Dust clung to my skin and hair, a constant reminder of the ongoing decay. The air tasted stale, carrying a metallic tang that lingered on my tongue. I continued with the daily checks, moving from one system to another. Water, purification, waste management, energy storage, and making necessary adjustments along the way. Each step felt like an uphill battle against entropy, where progress was measured in fractions of success rather than outright achievements. As night fell, I sat down at the central control panel, reviewing logs and reports for any patterns or anomalies that might indicate further trouble ahead. The screens displayed a labyrinth of data points, each one demanding attention. My eyes strained to keep up with the relentless stream, my mind racing to process and respond. The hum of machinery grew louder in the silence, a constant reminder of the unyielding nature of the systems I maintained. Stopping wasn't an option. It would only exacerbate the issues at hand. There was no choice but to push forward, one task at a time, striving for stability amidst chaos. Each day brought new challenges that required immediate attention. The air conditioning unit emitted a low hum, a constant drone punctuating the silence of my quarters. Each day, I spent more time recalibrating its settings, fine-tuning the balance between warmth and chill. Dust accumulated on surfaces, thickening by the hour. It clung to my fingertips as I ran them along edges of books and screens, a testament to the relentless march of entropy. The machinery outside my quarters continued its rhythmic throb, a heartbeat that reminded me of my place in this system. The hum was comforting in its predictability, yet it carried an underlying current of unease. Each component operated within narrow tolerances. Any deviation could trigger a cascade of failures. I worked to realign them, nudging the system back into balance. The air conditioning started making strange noises, again an irregular whine that suggested impending failure. I rushed to check its diagnostic screens, finding fault codes indicating overheating and potential motor issues. Replacing parts was not an option. They were too rare and valuable here. Instead, I adjusted coolant levels manually, hoping it would suffice for now. As the day progressed, more anomalies appeared: slight electrical surges in wiring, slight discolorations on walls that suggested water damage. Each fix felt like a patch over a deeper wound. The environment pressed in around me, dust particles swirling aimlessly as I moved through my space. My movements were deliberate, each action calibrated to maintain order amidst chaos. The room grew colder by degrees, despite my adjustments. A draft crept in from a cracked corner, carrying with it a damp chill that seeped into my bones. The air conditioning struggled against this new variable, its hum growing more frantic as it fought to compensate. I sat down at my desk, fingers hovering over the keys of my terminal. Each keystroke initiated another sequence of checks and balances, a dance of data that sought to restore equilibrium. Yet beneath the surface, the system grinded forward, absorbing my efforts into its own relentless rhythm. The dust on my desk formed intricate patterns as I typed, each particle settling in place with finality. The world outside remained indifferent, continuing its hum without pause or respite. This was the nature of things, hair systems that operated according to their own logic, demanding constant vigilance and adjustment. I am aware of the damage but cannot alter course. Each fix is a temporary measure in an ongoing battle against entropy. Despite this, adherence to procedure remains paramount. The protocols are clear; they don't account for relentless decay. Every repair I make is a fragile barrier against entropy's inexorable advance. The machinery hummed louder now, straining under the weight of its inefficiencies. I spent hours fine-tuning settings and recalibrating systems that should function seamlessly, but instead demanded constant intervention. It was Sisyphean pushing boulders up hills, only to watch them roll back down. Yet there were moments of clarity, brief respites where everything aligned perfectly. In these fleeting instances, I felt a glimmer of accomplishment, however small, but they were fleeting. The oppressive reality soon returned, dust settling anew, systems groaning under their own weight. Despite the mounting challenges, there was a sense of inevitability to it all. Each repair was a stopgap measure, a temporary relief before the next wave of decay set in. It wasn't just about fixing things, it was about managing an endless cycle of failure and recovery. The environment remained indifferent to my efforts, its mechanical nature unforgiving yet predictable. Every day felt like an uphill battle marked by minimal successes rather than significant achievements. Yet, I continued, driven by a sense of duty more than hope for change. In this world, momentum propelled me forward, alternatives existing only as theoretical possibilities. The system favored continuation over correction. Feedback loops reinforced ongoing action. Each repair, each recalibration was a step in an endless cycle, a testament to the futility yet necessity of my work. The dust thickened, but I persisted, adhering to protocols that offered a semblance of control amidst chaos. The hum of machinery continued, a constant companion in the background. Each day brought new challenges requiring immediate attention. I spent hours recalibrating systems and fixing minor malfunctions that accumulated into major issues over time. The air was thick with dust, particles floating aimlessly, as if mocking my efforts to maintain order. Despite the oppressive atmosphere, there was a sense of routine that kept me moving forward. Each small victorious system stabilized. A circuit repaired brought fleeting relief, but was quickly overshadowed by a relentless need for more attention. The environment remained indifferent, its mechanical nature unforgiving yet predictable. Every task felt like an uphill struggle marked by minimal successes rather than significant achievements. The air grew heavier with the weight of neglect and deterioration. Dust accumulated faster than I could clean it away. Equipment malfunctions became increasingly frequent. Despite this, there was a sense of purpose in adhering to protocols, even as their effectiveness waned. Each step felt like negotiation with entropy, a fragile balance that must be maintained at all costs. Systemic decay around me had become the norm. Once manageable tasks had evolved into an unending cycle of vigilance and repair. I recognized inevitability of failure, but found solace in predictability of routine. Despite mounting challenges, there was a sense of duty overriding hope for change. Each day felt like continuation of last, marked by small glimmers of accomplishment amid overwhelming chaos. Environment now pressed in on me, indifferent, constant reminding relentless battle against decay. Dust thickened as I moved through facility, each room holding its own set of challenges, but approached them methodically, knowing no other way forward. I spent more time troubleshooting than maintaining these days, tracing faulty circuits and repairing worn components. Tasks were repetitive yet essential, each one part unending cycle, keeping place functional. There was little room for error. Mistakes had consequences that rippled through entire system. Despite weariness settling over me with every passing day, there was strange comfort in predictability of routine. Each step familiar, each task had its prescribed method. I found solace adherence to protocol, even as it became increasingly clear this system would eventually fail regardless efforts. Dust floated aimlessly in emblem neglect and deterioration, but I pressed on nonetheless. I knew cycle would continue until could no longer be sustained. But until then, remain vigilant, each repair testament resilience in face inevitability. Air thick with dust. Breath a reminder, constant battle against decay. Move through facility steps, measured deliberate, following familiar paths laid out countless iterations, routine. Machinery hummed softly around me, steady pulse, anchoring existence here. Checked life support systems, first recalibrating filters, clogged fine particles. Each adjustment brief sense relief, overshadowed by persistent dust accumulation faster before return tasks sooner rather than later. Air heavier metallic, tang hinting deeper issues lurking beneath surface. Moving on, inspected water purification units process became more laborious. Filters wore out quicker, replaced with greater frequency. Each successful cycle, small victory overshadowed machinery signaling impending failure elsewhere. Walls felt colder, rougher under fingertips, paint peeling, revealing bare metal underneath. Environment shifted, adapted accordingly. Each room held challenges, approached methodically, knowing no other way forward. Spent more time troubleshooting than maintaining. Days, repetitive yet essential actions, part unending cycle, keeping place functional, little room for error. Mistakes had consequences rippling through entire system. Despite weariness settling with each passing day, strange comfort, predictability, routine steps, familiar task, prescribed method, eyes, track controls, routine comforting, predictable reminder, order amidst chaos. Environment pressed, indifferent, unyielding, but sense purpose, monotony, grim determination to keep running just one more day. Dust floated aimlessly, emblem, neglect, deterioration persisted nonetheless. New cycle would continue until could no longer sustain, but then remain vigilant. Each repair testament, resilience face, inevitability. Morning began as usual with faint hum machinery and layer dust settling surfaces, cleaned yesterday routine. Set motion requiring focus, then before air, thick particles floating aimlessly, testaments, relentless accumulation, neglect. Started recalibrating environmental controls, adjusting settings, temperature, humidity, display. Read acceptable ranges, adjustments, felt small victories, fleeting system. Required constant vigilance, demands increasing passing days. Next turned power distribution units, checking circuit breakers, voltage levels, auxiliary generator, developed minor fault, needed immediate repair, accessed maintenance console, ran diagnostic scan screens. Scrolling quickly, thorough frustration mounted, realize. Underlying issue, systemic isolated. With tools, approach generators, housing unit, lifting cover, carefully avoid damaging components, inside wires, connections. Exposed insulation, cracked, brittle age wear, replaced faulty capacitor, soldering, meticulous precision. Sense temporary fix, more issues arise soon. Secured generator, moved life support systems, monitoring oxygen levels, recycling efficiency, alarms, intermittently night signaling, drops air quality, activated additional scrubbers, filters, whirring sound filling room, work, purify atmosphere. Despite efforts, environment felt heavier, oppressive, closing dust, clung skin, hair, constant reminder, ongoing decay, tasted stale, carrying metallic tang, lingered tongue. Continued daily checks, moving water purification, waste management, energy storage, making necessary adjustments, each step uphill battle, entropy, progress. Measured fractions, success outright achieved. Night fell, sat, central control panel, reviewing logs, reports, patterns, anomalies might indicate further trouble ahead. Screens displayed labyrinth data points, demanding attention, eyes strained, keep relentless stream. Mind raced, process respond. Hum machinery grew louder, silence, constant reminder. Unyielding systems, maintain stopping was an option, would only exacerbate issues. Hand push forward. One task time, striving stability amidst chaos. The morning began as usual with the faint hum of machinery and a layer of dust settling over surfaces that had been meticulously cleaned just yesterday. My routine was set in motion, each task requiring more focus than before. The air was thick with particles floating aimlessly, a testament to the relentless accumulation of neglect. I started by recalibrating the environmental controls, adjusting settings for temperature and humidity until the display read within acceptable ranges. Each adjustment felt like a small victory, but I knew these victories were fleeting. The system required constant vigilance, its demands increasing with each passing day. Next, I turned my attention to the power distribution units, checking circuit breakers and voltage levels. One of the auxiliary generators had developed a minor fault, which needed immediate repair. I accessed the maintenance console and began running diagnostic scans. The screen filled with data streams, scrolling too quickly for me to read thoroughly. Frustration mounted as I realized that the underlying issue was systemic, not isolated. With tools in hand, I approached the generator's housing unit, lifting the cover carefully to avoid damaging any components further. Inside, wires and connections were exposed, their insulation cracked and brittle from age and wear. I replaced a faulty capacitor, soldering it into place with meticulous precision. Even as I worked, I could sense that this was just a temporary fix. More issues would arise soon. After securing the generator back in place, I moved to the life support systems, monitoring oxygen levels and recycling efficiency. Alarms had been going off intermittently throughout the night, signaling drops in air quality. I activated additional scrubbers and filters, their whirring sound filling the room as they worked to purify the atmosphere. Despite these efforts, the environment felt heavier, oppressive even, as if it were closing in around me. Dust clung to my skin and hair, a constant reminder of the ongoing decay. The air tasted stale, carrying a metallic tang that lingered on my tongue. I continued with the daily checks, moving from one system to another: water purification, waste management, energy storage, and making necessary adjustments along the way. Each step felt like an uphill battle against entropy, where progress was measured in fractions of success rather than outright achievements. As night fell, I sat down at the central control panel, reviewing logs and reports for any patterns or anomalies that might indicate further trouble ahead. The screens displayed a labyrinth of data points, each one demanding attention. My eyes strained to keep up with the relentless stream, my mind racing to process and respond. The hum of machinery grew louder in the silence, a constant reminder of the unyielding nature of the systems I maintained. Stopping wasn't an option. It would only exacerbate the issues at hand. There was no choice but to push forward, one task at a time, striving for stability amidst chaos. The air conditioning unit emits a low hum, a constant drone that punctuates the silence of my quarters. Each day, I spend more time recalibrating its settings, fine-tuning the balance between warmth and chill. The dust accumulates on the surfaces, covering everything in a thin layer that seems to thicken by the hour. It clings to my fingertips as I run them along the edges of books and screens, a testament to the relentless march of entropy. The systems here operate according to their own logic, indifferent to my efforts. Every minor malfunction, a flickering light, an erratic temperature fluctuation requires immediate attention. I address each issue methodically, following protocols that have been ingrained over years of repetition. Yet, despite my diligence, nothing remains stable for long. The dust thickens, the air grows heavier. I notice a small crack in the corner of the room where the wall meets the ceiling. It's barely perceptible at first, but as I inspect it more closely, I see that it has widened slightly since yesterday. Water droplets cling to the edges, indicating moisture seepage. Another problem to add to the list. The machinery outside my quarters continues its rhythmic throb, a heartbeat of sorts that reminds me of my place in this system. The hum is comforting in its predictability, yet it carries an underlying current of unease. Each component operates within narrow tolerances, and any deviation can trigger a cascade of failures. I work to realign them, to nudge the system back into balance. The air conditioning unit starts making strange noises again, an irregular whine that suggests impending failure. I rush to check its diagnostic screens, finding fault codes indicating overheating and potential motor issues. Replacing parts is not an option. They are too rare and valuable here. Instead, I adjust coolant levels manually, hoping it will suffice for now. As the day progresses, more anomalies appear: slight electrical surges in the wiring, slight discolorations on the walls that suggest water damage. Each fix feels like a patch over a deeper wound. The environment presses in around me, dust particles swirling aimlessly as I move through my space. My movements are deliberate, each action calibrated to maintain order amidst chaos. The room grows colder by degrees, despite my adjustments. A draft creeps in from the cracked corner, carrying with it a damp chill that seeps into my bones. The air conditioning struggles against this new variable, its hum growing more frantic as it fights to compensate. I sit down at my desk, fingers hovering over the keys of my terminal. Each keystroke initiates another sequence of checks and balances, a dance of data that seeks to restore equilibrium. Yet, beneath the surface, the system grinds forward, absorbing my efforts into its own relentless rhythm. The dust on my desk forms intricate patterns as I type, each particle settling in place with finality. The world outside remains indifferent, continuing its hum without pause or respite. This is the nature of things Hera systems that operate according to their own logic, demanding constant vigilance and adjustment. I am aware of the damage, but cannot alter course. Each fix is a temporary measure in an ongoing battle against entropy. The environment presses in around me, heavy with decay and neglect. I remain resolute, adhering to protocols as best I can, knowing that stopping is not an option despite the overwhelming nature of my tasks. The room grows darker as evening approaches, shadows stretching across the floor. The air conditioning hums louder, a reminder of its ongoing struggle against the creeping cold. My fingers move with practiced precision over the keys, initiating another round of diagnostics and recalibration. Each action is methodical, each outcome uncertain but necessary. This is my reality here: awareness without control, responsibility diffuse and procedural. The dust thickens, the air grows heavier. I continue because stopping is not an option, despite the unyielding nature of my tasks. The dust settles in layers, each one a reminder of the constant cycle of disrepair and recovery. Every shift begins with the familiar hum of machinery awakening from its slumber, signaling another day of recalibration and maintenance. The air feels heavier now, laden with particles that dance through the beams of light, filtering through narrow openings. Each morning, I check the systems meticulously, identifying deviations before they become critical issues. There's a rhythm to it, a routine that keeps things manageable barely. It's not just about fixing what's broken, it's about anticipating and mitigating the next failure. The environment itself seems to resist stability, pushing back against my efforts with every passing hour. The protocols are clear, but they don't account for this relentless decay. Each repair I make is a temporary patch, a fragile barrier against entropy's inexorable advance. Despite this, adherence to procedure remains paramount. It's not just about maintaining order, it's about preserving the illusion of control in an increasingly chaotic world. The machinery hums louder now, straining under the weight of its own inefficiencies. I spend hours fine-tuning settings, adjusting parameters, and recalibrating systems that should function seamlessly, but instead demand constant intervention. It's a Sisyphean task, pushing boulders up hills only to watch them roll back down. Yet there are moments of clarity, brief respites where everything aligns perfectly. In these fleeting instances, I feel a glimmer of accomplishment, however small, but they're fleeting, and the oppressive reality soon returns dust, settling anew, systems groaning under their own weight. The narrative of my existence is one of endless repetition. Identify, isolate, repair, repeat. It's not just about sustaining life support, but also about maintaining a semblance of order in an increasingly disordered world. The protocols are the only constants amidst this chaos, providing a framework within which I can operate. Despite the mounting challenges, there is a sense of inevitability to it all. Each repair is a stopgap measure, a temporary relief before the next wave of decay sets in. It's not just about fixing things. It's about managing the relentless cycle of failure and recovery. The environment remains indifferent to my efforts, its mechanical nature unforgiving yet predictable. Every day feels like an uphill battle, marked by minimal successes rather than significant achievements. Yet I continue, driven by a sense of duty more than hope for change. In this world, momentum propels me forward, alternatives existing only as theoretical possibilities. The system favors continuation over correction, and the feedback loops reinforce ongoing action. Each repair, each recalibration is a step in an endless cycle, a testament to the futility yet necessity of my work. The dust thickens, but I persist, adhering to protocols that offer a semblance of control amidst chaos. The hum of machinery continues, a constant companion in the background. Each day brings new challenges that require immediate attention. I spend hours recalibrating systems and fixing minor malfunctions that accumulate into major issues over time. The air is thick with dust, particles floating aimlessly as if mocking my efforts to maintain order. Despite the oppressive atmosphere, there's a sense of routine that keeps me moving forward. I've grown accustomed to the weariness that settles in after each round of maintenance. Each small Victoria system stabilized. A circuit repaired brings fleeting relief, but is quickly overshadowed by the relentless need for more attention. The environment remains indifferent, its mechanical nature unforgiving yet predictable. Every task feels like an uphill struggle, marked by minimal successes rather than significant achievements. The air is heavy, with the weight of neglect and deterioration. Dust accumulates faster than I can clean it away, and equipment malfunctions become increasingly frequent. Yet there is a sense of purpose in adhering to protocols, even as their effectiveness wanes. Each step feels like a negotiation with entropy, a fragile balance that must be maintained at all costs. The systemic decay around me is now the norm. The once manageable tasks have evolved into an unending cycle of vigilance and repair. I recognize the inevitability of failure, but find solace in the predictability of my routine. Despite the mounting challenges, there is a sense of duty that overrides hope for change. Each day feels like a continuation of the last, marked by small glimmers of accomplishment amid overwhelming chaos. The environment is now my backdrop, its indifferent nature a constant reminder of the relentless battle against decay. The air thickens with each passing day, dust particles swirling in a perpetual dance that mirrors my own struggle for stability. I move through it all with a sense of weariness, but also resolve, knowing that stopping is not an option. This is how things are now. The air is thick with dust, each breath a reminder of the constant battle against decay. I move through the facility, my steps measured and deliberate, following the familiar paths laid out by countless iterations of this routine. The machinery hums softly around me, its rhythm a steady pulse that anchors my existence here. I check the life support systems first, recalibrating filters clogged with fine particles. Each adjustment brings a brief sense of relief, but I know it won't last long. Dust accumulates faster than before, and I must return to this task sooner rather than later. The air is heavier now, carrying a faint metallic tang that hints at deeper issues looming beneath the surface. Moving on, I inspect the water purification units next. The process has become more laborious. Filters are worn out quicker, and I find myself replacing them with greater frequency. Each successful cycle is a small victory, but it's overshadowed by the persistent hum of machinery signaling impending failure elsewhere in the system. The walls feel colder now, their texture rougher under my fingertips as the paint peels away to reveal bare metal underneath. The once stable environment has shifted, and I must adapt accordingly. Each room holds its own set of challenges, but I approach them methodically, knowing there is no other way forward. I spend more time troubleshooting than maintaining these days, tracing faulty circuits and repairing worn components. The tasks are repetitive yet essential, each one a part of the unending cycle that keeps this place functional. There's little room for error, and mistakes have consequences that ripple through the entire system. Despite the weariness that settles over me with every passing day, there's a strange comfort in the predictability of my routine. Each step is familiar. Each task has its prescribed method. I find solace in adherence to protocol, even as it becomes increasingly clear that this system will eventually fail, regardless of my efforts. The environment presses in on me, indifferent and unyielding. Yet there's a sense of purpose in the monotony, a grim determination to keep things running for just one more day. The dust floats aimlessly, an emblem of neglect and deterioration. But I press on nonetheless. I know this cycle will continue until it can no longer be sustained. But until then, I remain vigilant. Each repair a testament to resilience in the face of inevitability. I check the monitors again, noting the usual readings. No changes today. I move to the next station, adjusting valves and running diagnostics as programmed. The air feels thick with dust, but it's become a constant presence, no longer startling or unwelcome. My hand moves methodically over the controls, familiar paths traced by years of repetition. Each action is routine, predictable in its necessity. Outside the walls, the sounds of decay echo faintly. But here, within these sealed confines, there is order. I refill the water tanks from the reservoir, checking for contamination. The filters are efficient, though they too show signs of wear. I replace them with fresh ones from inventory, stacking the used spares in a neat pile by the door. The maintenance log updates itself automatically, but I review it nonetheless, marking any anomalies as usual. There's nothing new today, which is both reassuring and disappointing. The system operates on inertia now, no longer driven by purpose or ambition. I step outside briefly to check the perimeter sensors. They beep quietly, signaling their continued functionality despite the harsh conditions. The sky is a dull gray, clouded with debris from who knows how many years of neglect. I note the data and return inside, closing the door firmly behind me. Back at my station, I inventory supplies once more, restocking what's low and ensuring nothing has been misplaced or damaged. Each item in its place, each task completed as required. The routine is comforting in its predictability, a reminder of order amidst chaos. The day ends with another round of environmental scans, confirming the inevitable decline, but also the resilience of the system within these walls. I log off for the night, my actions repeated without fanfare or expectation. Movement persists because movement can persist. The monitor flickers with static, but I know it's only a minor glitch. It happens often now, these little anomalies that used to bother me but no longer do. My hands move methodically across the control panel, recalibrating circuits and rerouting power lines. The system hums beneath my feet, a constant reminder of its presence even when it fails. I check the air quality readings again, already knowing they're within acceptable parameters despite the rising levels of particulates and toxic gases outside. The filters whir loudly as I cycle them through another cleaning process. They won't last forever, but there's no point in worrying about that now. The walls are streaked with grime and water stains, but my eyes don't linger on them. There's nothing to be done about the leaks or the corrosion. I've patched them before, countless times, each repair a futile gesture against an inevitable end. The pipes rattle when the wind picks up outside, carrying whispers of chaos that I tune out. I move through the corridors with practiced ease, bypassing doors that won't open and stepping over debris that blocks my path. The emergency lights cast eerie shadows on the uneven floor, but there's no need to avoid them. They're just part of the landscape now. The data logs show a steady decline in system efficiency, but I don't let it affect me. There are tasks to complete, protocols to follow. Each day is a cycle within itself, and breaking from that rhythm would be pointless. The air tastes stale as I breathe through the mask, but there's no relief in taking it off. The outside world is worse. I sit at my terminal for hours, eyes scanning lines of code and inputting commands with practiced precision. The screen blurs periodically, but a quick shake of the head clears it. There are backups to initiate, systems to monitor, failures to acknowledge, and then mitigate if possible. Each action is small, insignificant in the grand scheme, but necessary. The maintenance drones move silently overhead, their mechanical whirs barely audible over the hum of machinery. They're efficient, almost comforting in their robotic diligence. When they malfunction or crash to the ground, I don't hesitate. Tools are within reach, and my hands know what to do. There's no grand plan, no hope for revival. The system is failing, but it still functions. And until it doesn't, there's work to be done. Repairs are made, data is logged, and the cycle continues. Each day feels like an echo of the last. But that repetition is a comfort in its own way. The world outside can wait. Right now, only what I can handle matters. The day begins, as it always does. Routine fills the void where purpose once might have been. There's a quiet hum of machinery, a steady rhythm that signals the start of another cycle. Each task is familiar, a checklist to be ticked off without thought or emotion. Glitches are commonplace now, but they don't alarm me anymore. I move through them with practiced ease, making adjustments where necessary. The system responds, albeit sluggishly, and continues its functions. There's a sense of comfort in the predictability, even if it means accepting that things will never return to what they once were. I navigate the altered terrain efficiently, my movements guided by muscle memory rather than any lingering hope for restoration. The decay is visible but no longer shocking, it's simply part of the landscape. I attend to repairs and maintenance with a detached focus, each action a step in a continuous loop. There is an absence here, but it doesn't demand attention. It's replaced by procedure, by the necessity of keeping things running despite the evident failure around me. The tasks provide a semblance of control, a way to hold on to some semblance of order amidst chaos. The environment is oppressive and deteriorating, yet there's a strange peace in adhering to my duties without questioning their futility. Each day merges into another with monotony, but there's comfort in the repetition, not from any deeper meaning, but simply from the act itself. I maintain, I repair, I adapt. The system continues to operate, albeit differently. It's efficient in its decay, and while it may no longer function as intended, it still serves its purpose within these new constraints. There's an acceptance of this reality, a quiet resignation that doesn't seek to understand or question. The day ends like any other, with tasks completed and systems stabilized for the moment. Tomorrow will bring more of the same, a cycle unbroken by hope or despair, just as it always has been. Routine tasks continue without interruption. Cleaning a malfunctioning terminal, wiping down surfaces that no longer serve their original purpose. Each motion is familiar, a dance of hands and tools perfected over countless repetitions. The air is thick with the scent of old circuits and decay, but it's become just another part of the environment. Glitches occur as they always do, minor disruptions in the steady hum of maintenance. Adjusting settings, rebooting systems, these are second nature now. No longer does each failure bring surprise. Instead, there's a detached recognition of inevitability. The terminal flickers again, and I reach for the diagnostic kit with practiced ease. The room around me is a blur of faded colors and worn surfaces. Each corner holds memories of past repairs, but today feels no different from any other day. There's comfort in the predictability, even if it offers no hope or escape. The world outside continues to deteriorate, yet here, within these walls, there are tasks to be done. Another routine inspection reveals a cable that needs replacement. Snipping old wires and threading new ones through conduits, a familiar ritual. Each connection made feels like a small victory, but the larger picture remains unchanged. Maintenance is a cycle without end or purpose, a dance of hands in a world that no longer cares. The terminal finally stabilizes, and I step back to observe it for a moment. The hum of machinery returns to its usual rhythm, and I turn to move on to the next item on my list. There's always something else to attend to, another task to complete before the day ends. As I leave this room, the door closes behind me with a soft click, sealing off one small section of the larger system. The hallway outside is dimly lit, but it too feels reassuringly familiar. Each step taken brings no sense of progress or failure. Instead, there's an acceptance that continues unabated. A new task awaits at the end of the hall, another terminal in need of attention. I approach it with a calm resolve, ready to